So the first thing I would like to show off actually came from Tabitha Bunny, and you may have noticed that this one is actually already open. That's because I've taken the mailing labels off of all of these because you can. I mean, I know this came from an Amazon distribution warehouse, but I don't know what kind of information are on those labels. I don't know if somebody could infer Tabitha's account number from the detail. You know what I mean? I don't know what's on those labels. You notice this package is actually already opened, and that's because I made a boo-boo when I was at the post office, because I actually did order something from Amazon, but I wasn't paying. It was some extra cables for my computer, but I wasn't paying attention as to who this was addressed to. I just saw the Amazon bubble mailer, and I kind of felt the package. I'm like, oh, these are probably the cables I ordered. And then I opened it, and I looked inside, I'm like, oh, fuck, I just screwed up. Those cables did eventually arrive, but, you know, this was addressed to Gatorbox, which should have clued me in that I don't have things that are sent to me that I order are sent to me under my name and not as Gatorbox. So I should have paid more attention, but I didn't. But there's actually not much to this package. It's just a real quick and dirty one. Inside this Amazon package is a copy of Snowrunner for the Nintendo Switch. It's brand new, still sealed, still shrink wrapped, still everything. I could probably, if I opened it right now, I could probably get the My Nintendo rewards points for it. So Snowrunner is the next game in the Spin Tires Mud Runner lineage of games, where you basically it's like Ice Road Truckers essentially, where you're hauling loads, except this time instead of going through mud and aqueous terrain, you're going through ice, and you're going through mountainous terrain, and there's snow, and you know there's lack of traction. So there's some of that, and this is of course the Switch version to go with the other version that she got me, which was Spin Tires. So this is a game that I've been wanting to play with my brother Reflex, because you know, he drives trucks, he works on trucks. It'd be something that we could enjoy together. Unfortunately, he's just never been down long enough for us to get together and hang out. Or if he does come down, he comes down with his girlfriend. And I think the last thing that she would want to do is just be third wheel to just me and him playing this and playing GoldenEye 007 over and over again. I might wind up just playing this solo on my own, just for the experience. That's probably what it's going to wind down to. I would like to play it with Reflex, but you never know. But anyways, Tabitha, thank you for the copy of Snowrunner. I knew that this is what was in here because, like I said, I accidentally opened up the bag. And as soon as I did that, I was like, well, shit. And I spoiled the surprise. I accidentally opened the Christmas presents early. But thank you for Snowrunner, Tabitha. Whether or not I get to play it with Reflex is yet to be determined. But I'm just gonna probably get started on Spin Tires Mud Runner at some point. I'll just play that whenever I have some free time. But Tabitha says, talking about this game, it's fun when you yeet yourself and roll onto your roof at the bottom and roll out. Just roll down a mountain. It's like the beginning of Kung Pao where the baby rolls down the mountain, except it's just a truck carrying a bunch of pipes. The ice road claims another victim. You guys remember that? We got to bring that back for Extra Life. This next one I know is a plushie because I can squish it and squeeze it. This one comes to us from Gay for Aliens. I have done my best to destroy the tracking information on this. I couldn't peel the whole label off, but I peeled off as much of the information as I possibly could that would reveal any of his personal information. It's a plush Mew. Luckily, you never know. I've had a lot of luck with Mew. It is, well, it's from the Rainforest Cafe. I can see the tag right now, and it appears to be. Hey, it's another gator. Well, actually, I guess it'd be a crocodile if it's from the Nile River, like it says. One of the guys from Rainforest Cafe. If you guys have never been, I guess I can hear. I gotta put him down so you guys can see him, or I could pan the camera up so you guys can see his big goofy face. He kind of reminds me of TikTok from Peter Pan, actually. I like him. So I assume he's from the gift shop of the Rainforest Cafe, which is a themed restaurant. I'll give you 3 guesses as to what it's themed after. But they do a lot of wacky stuff there. They have a lot of like animatronic animals there. They have like animatronic like crocodiles that are in the water out in front. The Rainforest Cafe is a very ornate restaurant, and it's one of those ones where it's kind of pricey because you're paying for the experience. But if you go there on your birthday, they'll serve you a piece of birthday cake with a bunch of sparklers stuck in it. So that's my advice to you. If you're going to go to Rainforest Cafe, go there on your birthday and go there with at least like one other person, because I would imagine there would be nothing more awkward than them coming out and singing you happy birthday and you're by yourself. Like, that's the type of shit that I would do. The Rainforest Cafe is usually attached to something else. I don't think I've ever seen one that's just a standalone place. They're usually as part of like an upscale mall or like a shopping district or something like that. But Gay for Alien says that he found this guy at a thrift store. Well, I don't know how much you paid for him at the thrift store, but that right there, his name is Nile the Crocodile. It's a real creative name. But that right there is the moneymaker. That's the Rainforest Cafe tag. And I guarantee this guy was probably pushing $20, if not more, at the Rainforest. Probably like $22.99 at the Rainforest Cafe. Do his jaws snap all the way? Yeah, they kind of do. But then he has weird cheeks. I'm starting to have a little collection of alligator plushies that you guys have sent in. We've got the original Muscles Gator in the yellow tank top that I found at a thrift store back when I lived in San Antonio many years ago. And Muscles Gator was like one of the first mascot characters that we had on this channel. And then at one point we got the camouflage crocodile, Camo Croc, I think it was his name, the Webkins toy. Fandramon helped me find that one, and we bought that specifically so that we could play Webkins. I made sure to buy one that still had a valid code, so we could log in and add them to our account. And then Okayness4 sent us Jessie, which is Baby Ness, who is sitting on top of the prize box. And then I think it was not the Doctor. I think sent us Luigi Muscles Gator's brother. Now the reason I was thinking that this might have been another Muscles Gator is because I could feel the tail, and I thought maybe that was like an arm or something, and I was like, nah, it's going to be another one of these guys, because I know there are other iterations of Muscles Gator out there. I've seen one where he's wearing a tank top that just says like USA on it. I've seen one where he's wearing a orange tank top with the University of Florida logo on it, because their mascot's the Gators. So I know there are a few Muscles Gators that I don't own. So one of these days, I'm either just going to buy them and add them to the collection myself, or one of you guys is going to find them and send them to me. But I guess his name is Nile, so I guess that has been chosen for me. And I'm going to set him right over there so that he can get ready to find a home on top of the prize boxes. Packaged inside a bark box, which I can only guess is a subscription-based box thing. Are those still around? It's a monthly subscription box for dogs and people who have them. There's a cute little dog on the back that says, "Stay out of the trash, please recycle this box." I guess by reusing it to send me something, they've recycled it. But now that recycling falls upon my shoulders, and I'm not sure I'm okay with that. This comes to us from Team Run Amok, from Robot Wars and Robotica fame in the robot combat community. So we have a little something special from Team Run Amok. You guys might remember whenever we played Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts on our chill streams, we built some replicas of BattleBots and things like that. And Run Amok was one of the robots that we made a replica of. And Mark Joger, who was the designer of Run Amok with his son Aaron, he saw that and was such a fan that he said he wanted to send me some official Team Run Amok swag. So I have no idea what's in the box. I've just cut off and peeled the shipping labels off of it so that nobody's information is visible. So this is going to be a surprise to me. For those of y'all that don't know, Run Amok was a robot that was made from an old scrapped riding lawnmower that Mark and his son Aaron built into a wedge robot and entered into a show on TLC called Robotica, which was kind of like the robots did fight, but it was mostly obstacle course based. So, you know, Run Amok had to run a figure-8 track against an opponent, and then they had to break through a bunch of walls, different barriers of increasing weight, and then push a big heavy safe out of the way, push it across the finish line. And then at the very end, you had the fight to the finish, which was where the two robots drove out onto the main arena, like this be the arena, and then after a minute of fighting, the arena walls drop down, and everything outside of that is just a pit. So the object being to shove your opponent off the side of the thing. So Run Amok was actually the season 1 champion of Robotica. So I think Mark was more thrilled that right next to us making a replica of Bite Force, we also remembered the old greats from the sport. Run Amok competed in Robot Wars as Runaway, and they had some spinning blades on it, and it was mostly the same robot. It didn't do so hot. It got torn up pretty bad. But Run Amok has long since been retired, but I'm eager to see what's inside this box. Maybe it's a t-shirt. Maybe it's... No, it looks like it's a hat. I can dig that. I've always wanted a new hat. Here, check this out. Run Amok Combat Robotics. That was their team. It was Team Run Amok. This hat is like brand new. Does it fit as is? No, I gotta pull out the... This is an old hat too. Like, this is a proper, really, really old hat. Wear it on the final stream of the year? Alright. I wonder why you're saying that. It's a cool hat. I like it. I like it. That's my style. And let's see, here we've got a copy of the book Robot Riots, The Good Guide to Bad Bots. I think, now this covers BattleBots, but what else does it cover? Is there an index? Let's see. Was Run Amok in this? Run Amok is in this. They're in the index of the book. These are bot home pages. What page are they on? Because I have a feeling this might be a signed book. There was bot. Look, it's Ginsu. It's fucking season 2 Ginsu. Hang on. This is a wait. Okay, this is a picture. Look at this. This is a picture from season 3.0 of Complete Control, lifting up Subject to Change Without Reason, and I want to say this has been autographed by Randy Eubanks, who was the builder of Subject to Change Without... He's the robot who's not winning in this picture. So there are autographs in this book. Well, here's the Joker family. Here's them. This is Mark and Aaron Joger at TLC's Robotica holding the championship cup. That's Mark on the left. Aaron, unfortunately, okay, so so Randy Eubanks signed the book, but Mark did not. I find that amusing. For those of y'all that don't know, Aaron was I believe Aaron was autistic, but he was the type of autistic where you're like a savant, and this kid knew all sorts of things about engineering, that to the point where people saw him as a resource to ask him questions. And there's a section on the Team Run Amok website, which is still around, called Ask Aaron, where he would answer questions that people who wanted to build robots or people who had questions about robots he would answer their questions and explain the mechanics behind it. And most of the time he was correct. The kid was really smart. He was really bright. But I believe when he was a teenager, he passed away very, very, very suddenly. I believe from a pulmonary embolism. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but it was one of those. He's fine one day and he's dead the next. So he passed away way too young. Otherwise, I am positive he would still be building robots to this day. He needed a little help from his father to get his ideas out there. And I would imagine him and his father would still compete to this day if Aaron were still around. So I know that the Ask Aaron archives are still online as like a memorial, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to make Run Amok when we did Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, because old robots like that shouldn't be forgotten. You know, that was an important robot. That was a series champion. That's not to be undermined. You might be saying, well, Robotica was a stupid show. Yeah, it was a stupid show, okay? Amit Zappa hosted his show by jumping up on top of a table and screaming about robots for God knows how long, right? He was a whack job. Is that Frank Zappa's kid? Yes, that's why he came out so weird. But, you know, this is an interesting book. I think I have a copy of it, but my copy has no signatures in it, so this is going to be the copy that I keep. I'll just trade in my old one or sell it or something, or maybe I'll pay it forward and I'll give my copy to a fan. But I do find it funny that I was flipping through and Randy Eubanks' signature is in this book. That's one of the weirdest things I could say that I have. Oh, are these? Oh, these are... Oh, man. A long time ago... So, a long time ago, they tried making, like, trading cards of, like, various combat robots. So these are, like, unofficial trading cards from way back in the day. What's on the back? Now, this one is autographed. This one actually is. And there's Mark and Aaron again. So this is Run Amok. This is the robot that we built in Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Run Amok. We put the arrow on the front because we kind of shrunk the top of it, because as you can see, we kind of didn't have the same wheels going on, because there's big wheels in the back and then big but slightly smaller wheels in the front. Banjo-Kazooie didn't really afford us the ability to be like that. But I mean, look at this. This is a robot with automotive steering, with essentially no armor on its underside. If it hits the kill saws, it's fucking toast. But this was back when you could get away with that. You just have one big electric motor powering the rear axle. Let's see if I can focus on that. You have one big electric motor right here, and then there's the drivetrain to the rear axle, and then you have your steering differential up here, driven by a completely separate motor. And if you look at the front of Run Amok, there's actually two segments that are cut away from the front of the wedge. That's because the wheels, if you turned them, the wheels would actually hit the front of the wedge. So they just cut decorative holes there so that the wheels would have clearance. So coming up next, we got from Robot Wars. So these were called Superstar Performer cards. Now, I'm not super familiar with these. Wait, did Team Run Amok, did they build the Gap? They built this one? This was them too? I had no idea they built the Gap. I thought this was somebody else, because this one's also autographed on the back. So the Gap, as you can see, has like a little leading wedge in front right here, and then it has a big lifting fork with I don't think this is a pneumatic piston. I think this is a linear actuator. So this is electrically driven, not pneumatic. So you would have this front leading wedge to get underneath someone, and then when this cross-shaped piece is lowered, it's underneath this lip right here. So then the opponent rides up on top of it, they get involved with the lifting arm,
boom, they get thrown on their back. I had no idea this was their robot. I knew them for Run Amok, and I knew that they entered Robot Wars with Runaway, which was essentially Run Amok with an extra motor and some spinning blades on it. I did not know that this was also their robot. That's interesting. So here's one. Okay, here's one that I know is not their robot. This is Juggerbot 3.0 from Team Juggerbot. So these guys, is this one? No, this one's not autographed, but there's a spot for it right down there. These are so interesting. Again, this says 2002 seasons. So does it say what event this is from? It says Robotica Seasons 1 and 3, BattleBots Season 3.0, Robot Wars Extreme Warriors Season 1 and 2. So Juggerbot had Juggerbot 1, 2, and 3, and then they also, you may have noticed, this is one of the, yeah, okay, we got them all. We got them all. Okay. These three machines are all pretty much the same thing. This is Juggerbot. This is the main robot with 4-wheel drive and a lifting bar. And then we had Rosie the Riveter from Robot Wars, which was essentially Juggerbot just with the wedge and a saw blade on the front and some decorative plane parts stuck on it. And then we have Tricerabot, which was also just Juggerbot but painted brown and given a ramp on the front and some horns to lock heads with other opponents with. If I remember, I think Juggerbot was the one that showed up at Robotica. I think this was Robotica. And then these two both competed in Robot Wars, although they were captained by so the guy who built this is getting real confusing. The guy who built Juggerbot also built Tricerabot, because I mean, when you compare these two robots, they're basically identical. You can tell that they're the same machine. So this was his pride and joy. Now this one, Rosie the Riveter, was captained by a friend of the Juggerbot guy, and this robot was essentially built almost the exact same way, the same motors, same everything, except this actually had life outside of Robot Wars, whereas I think Juggerbot, I don't know if they were on Robotica. It didn't say that they were, so I'm pretty sure that they weren't. But Rosie the Riveter competed on Robotica under the name Logosai, which was the team captain's. That was the name of his indie rock band. So he named his robot after his fucking band. I always thought that was so stupid. I've never heard any of their, like to this day, I've never heard any of their music. And then finally, from what's his face? It's on the tip of my tongue. Rob Farrow, that's the guy. This is Silverback, aka the Killer Gorilla from Robotica, and it's basically just a 4-wheel drive forklift with a linear actuated lifting arm and a big gorilla face on the front of it. And if we flip it over, did it have the guy? No, it didn't have the guy, the team member's name on the back, but it was its record. It was a Robotica Season 2 finalist under the name the Killer Gorilla, and then it competed in both BattleBots 4 and 5.0. Silverback actually did have a televised match on BattleBots where I believe it lost to Agitator, which was a pyramid-shaped machine that had a big spinning arm on top of it. And because of the giant wheels that this thing has, it had a tendency to pop wheelies, and whenever Agitator's weapon would be up to speed and this thing would charge forward, it would pop a wheelie, and then its underside would hit Agitator, whose weapon was spinning, and then the weapon would continue to spin and just knock this robot over. But this robot could self-right, because by landing on its lifting arm, its back wheels would touch the ground, and then just by reversing, the whole robot tips forward on its rear axle, and it's all back on all 4 tires again. So all that I can remember happening with this robot is I remember in Robotica, I think it was during the obstacle course or something like that, it smashed into the wall and got really, really close to one of the cameras. And I just remember, like, Ahmed Zappa, who was doing the commentary for Robotica, and he was like, "Hello, monkey." That he, like, just mid-sentence, that's what he just says, because the camera was zoomed in, like, just on the gorilla mask. Like, it was a perfect collision. And I'm actually getting word from chat. I'm getting corrected here. I'm getting actually'd. So some more information for you on Juggerbot. Juggerbot was in the finals of Robotica season 1 and 3. I didn't realize did it say that, and it just completely didn't register to me. Oh, it did say Robotica season 1 and 3. Okay, I read that and then it just didn't click, because Rosie the Riveter 2 also competed in Robotica series 1 and 3. But then again, this has the same information as the Juggerbot card on the back of it, so it's kind of unreliable. I'm actually being told that the fight that I described between Silverback and Agitator, Silverback actually won that fight on a close judge's decision, and then it eventually lost to Tazbot. So my apologies. I just remember Silverback being rolled onto its Silverback a bunch of times, and I could have sworn that meant that Silverback lost the fight. So I was incorrect in that assumption. But now, since we have trading cards that have been involved here, I have to pick a favorite. And if I'm going to pick a favorite, guys, I'm going to pick Run Amok, okay? Because Run Amok is the reason why we got this nice little box of swag from Mark. And these cards, these Superstar Performer cards, you know, this was back in an era where robot combat was eclipsing, in a sense. You know, BattleBots had just ended. A lot of these robots moved on to the independent circuit, but there was still for a while, there was still enough of a buzz surrounding them for people to still get sponsors, for events to still draw large crowds and sell tickets and sell out not stadiums, but to sell out venues and things like that. So these cards are exceedingly rare. These are a very rare collectible in the robot combat community, because these things were printed and then generally only really offered if you went to the events. So I find that to be, you know, that just adds to the rarity, the fact that you had to be there to get these, and most of these events were in California or Florida. They weren't really in, you know, Texas, so I didn't get to go to any of them. But I just think it's interesting that this was like an independent trading card company called Superstar Performance Cards. It actually is www.superstarperformers.com. Now, I don't know if that website goes to anything. It might be a squatted domain now, so you never know. But Regular Magic Unicorn says, I was scared of the gorilla mask as a kid, and that's why I missed most of Robotica Season 2. You didn't want him to come get you? You didn't want him to come get you? He's coming to get you. Booga booga. I missed most of Robotica Season 3 because they aired it all in one day as a marathon. I was out of town that day. I gotta say, thank you, Mark, for the book with the very bizarre signature in it, and thank you for the autograph, the 2 autographed Superstar Performer cards. Then you can't see the back though. I was gonna say I gotta get a little frame for one of them, but I don't know how to fit them in a frame, because I mean, maybe I could frame the back of that one, frame the back of the Gap, and have it like that, because the backs of the cards are identical, so maybe I could do something like that. I don't know, but I like to frame memorabilia like this. You guys know I have a shadow box that's not hanging up right now, but inside of it I have a I have a signed, autographed copy of the BattleBots game for Game Boy Advance that I got signed by Trey Roski and Greg Munson of the people who founded BattleBots. And I've also got a picture of the, or a piece of the BattleBots Arena marquee sign that sometimes gets damaged. I got a chunk of that. I got a chunk of Minotaur. I got a bolt from Minotaur in there. I got my VIP badge. It's all in a nice little shadow box. So, I might do something similar with these cards. Because these cards, I don't want them to just wind up with the rest of my favorite trading cards from everything else we've done on this stream. So, these are going to go someplace special. And this book will replace the copy that I have. Because, like I said, this one has been autographed. I need to go through it more thoroughly to find out if there's any more signatures in it. Speaking of Tazbot, here's the robot that the gorilla lost to. Tazbot. I don't know if you can tell what that thing does, but the head has a lifting arm on it, and the head swivels around. So it's a pretty cool robot. So I'm gonna stick these back in. I'm gonna put these back in the envelope so they. Well, no, there's staples in it. Okay. Well, they won't get lost if I just leave them right there inside the thing. I will put the hat with the rest of my hats. So thank you, Mark, for the Run Amok swag box. It's the best bark box I've ever gotten, I think. Thank you for the hats. I will definitely wear that whenever I go places. I usually wear a hat to keep the hair out of my face, so whenever I'm out and about, I will wear that with pride. It's embroidered. It's really nice. It's not silkscreen. That's a hat that's going to last forever, and that's going to be one I'm going to hang on to, just like my BattleBots hat and my Host Gator hat that was given to me by the Host Gator Company in a previous viewer mail unboxing. So we got that. As for how Mark found out about the Run Amok replica, it got posted to Reddit. Screenshots of it got posted to Reddit, and that's how he found it. And then he contacted me and said, hey, I really appreciate the work you did, making a replica of our old robot. What's your address? I'd like to send you some Team Run Amok swag. So now that I've opened this, I need to send Mark a proper thank you for the hat and the book and the cards. Thank you, Gay for Aliens, for Nile the Crocodile. Thank you, Gay for Aliens. And thank you, Miss Tabitha Bunny, for the copy of Snowrunner. These are all good things. You guys know me all too well. We got a little bit of robot combat history. We got trucks. We got gators. Technically, I still think that might be a crocodile because it's from the Nile River and those have crocodiles in it. So, I don't know. But, I think his tag said crocodile too. So, thank you very much. If you would like to send something into the GatorBox post office box and have it featured on an episode of Viewer Mail, the instructions to do that are in the video description below if you're watching this on YouTube. So thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. It's always like a miniature birthday for me. So it always brings my spirits up to see how much everyone cares and how thoughtful people can be. And we didn't get any North Korean propaganda this time. So that's always a plus.
Thanks for checking out this video by GatorBox. To see more videos like it, please subscribe to the channel. You can also support this project financially at patreon.com/GatorBox. You can also follow us at twitch.tv/GatorBox to catch us live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time for our main show. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.